we show up at the Outremont Arena, we register ourselves. Of course, no mom and dad to help us out because, again, they had no idea what hockey and baseball was. So we finally registered ourselves, and we started playing organized hockey. And it was a rough beginning because we weren't very good and we hadn't played, but we improved pretty fast. And I tell the story to all my buddies, and I still continue to play hockey in old-timer leagues. My brother George, who was a year and a half younger than me, he only started playing hockey first year Pee Wee, and I was second year Pee Wee, organized hockey. So I guess he was in grade 6, I was in grade 7. And the first year we played, we were in a house league team because we weren't very good, and the coach would actually bench us playing house league. That's how bad we were. So I was lucky I was a defenseman, so I got a few more shifts every period than he did, but he used to get roughly 1 or 2 shifts a period, and that was it. But we were able to continue to play in the winter because there were all kinds of rinks in Outremont, all kinds of parks that in the wintertime they had skating. They used to shovel away the snow and you could skate. So we were out there every day skating. After school we'd get our skates and we'd go over to the local rinks and skate and play hockey outdoors all the time. So even though we may not have gotten a chance to play in the organized teams, we played a lot of hockey on our own.
The other part of my childhood is, of course, the Outremont Arena and the baseball field. Even though hockey was amazing and we loved hockey, there was nothing like playing baseball in Outremont, the Outremont baseball field, which is on the McKerker next to the arena, which is now being developed, I think, for housing or homes, I think related to the University of Montreal. But just being there at night, enjoying the summer night, practicing on the baseball field with all my friends, Costa, Nick, George Gassick, and they're all friends today still. We had fantastic times. Nick was an amazing pitcher. We won championships. We beat the West Island teams. We didn't like the West Island, and had great fun. A lot of laughs, a lot of fun. And I think baseball, because of the summer being out there with the guys, was even a lot more fun than hockey. We really had great years. So, you know, the other area that I think about Outremont is, of course, the John F. Kennedy pool. We used to go swimming there, the public pool, and everybody hung out there in the summer. Large pool.
So it was the same story with baseball. We really didn't think we were good enough to play baseball. So the same year we started playing hockey, we used to go watch our friends who were playing organized baseball. Meanwhile, we grew up playing in the lanes, pitching in the streets to each other. My brother was my catcher, I was the pitcher. And again, Outremont had this type of play for the young kids, playing in the schoolyards, playing in the lanes. And we used to go watch the Outremont intercity baseball team practice, and we used to go sit there and watch them practice, but we never thought we were good enough to try out. And there was a gentleman there by the name of Mr. Morris Larondo, who always coached the Pee Wee intercity hockey team and baseball team. And he told my friend, who was the catcher on the team, he goes, those two little boys there, they're always here watching practices. Why don't they come and try out? So he walked over to us, and I remember this. He said, well, the coach here thinks you guys should come and try out. So we weren't registered, so he told us what to do. So we went down to the sports area, registered ourselves to play. And we showed up to the next practice. So next thing you know, we make the Pee Wee intercity baseball team, Pee Wee AA at the time, having never played any kind of organized baseball. And that was because in the schoolyards and in the lanes, throwing that baseball, probably more time playing baseball in the schoolyards and the lanes than the kids who played organized baseball. So as it happened, that summer we made the Pee Wee AA baseball team, and it's the first year I ever played baseball. I was a pitcher, my brother was an outfielder. And I was able to make the Quebec provincial team with never playing baseball in my life. So I was selected to play on the provincial team, and I always say the reason I was able to reach that caliber and reach that ability is because we always had a great desire for the sport, for the game, and we spent a lot of time playing it, not being coached at it or in any kind of organized form, just showing up at the schoolyard, pitching the ball to each other or organizing and making teams and playing. And same thing with hockey, the story continues. My brother shows up to the Pee Wee AA intercity tryouts because Mr. Larondo tells him, George, come try out for the intercity team. And my brother says, I was getting 1 shift in house league, how am I going to play intercity? But all winter long, like I said before, we had worked hard at all the Outremont rinks and the outdoor skating parks. And he shows up at the Pee Wee AA Outremont tryouts for hockey. And not only does he make the hockey team, but they put a C on his sweater. So when I tell everyone that story is unheard of today. That will never happen in today's age, because kids are coached and brought to organized and training from the time they can walk. Whereas in our day, a lot of, especially the immigrant families who weren't aware of any of these activities, the kids build the desire within them and they wanted to play. They really loved the game. Whereas today, a lot of the kids are kind of brought to it and given, it's all given to them, and so they don't build that desire to want to play the game and to excel at the game. So Outremont gave us that ability thanks to people, volunteers like Mr. Larondo, who saw a couple kids hanging around and inviting them in to play. Outremont was mostly a French-speaking community, so when me and my brother played on these Pee Wee Intercity, and further on we went on and played Bantam and Midget, the Intercity for Outremont teams, we were probably one of only 2 or 3 kids on the team that spoke any English at all. Most of the players were French-speaking. But we still made very good friends. We developed a good camaraderie in Outremont High, and a lot of the friends that we made growing up are today still good friends of ours. They're godparents to our children, so we really had a great bond. And the fact that we were out there battling on the sports fields and battling in the parks and hanging out together, it really brought everybody closer.